Welcome everybody, Josh here, back again today with a brand new, I guess you could say, thoughts on series. Today we're going to talk about my thoughts on MinnesotaCon, which took place around June 2nd through the 4th. Now, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of cosplaying. I cosplay as my favorite movie and video game characters. This is not actually the first time I've actually been to a comic convention. The first one that I went to was with my dad at Twin Cities Con, not even that long ago, pretty much last year around Christmas. And that was great because of the fact that I could go as Han Solo from Star Wars. Solo Star Wars Story was the cosplay that I actually did. And this year, MinnesotaCon took place in June, and it was held at the exact same place and exact same location as Twin Cities Con was. And there's a few different things that I noticed about Twin Cities Con compared to MinnesotaCon, whereas, you know, Twin Cities Con was a little bit larger. I think just due to the fact that everybody was getting sick and tired of being stuck inside the house, and everybody kind of wanted to get out and actually do stuff, especially given what had happened previously on the past couple of years. You know, everybody was kind of excited for Elijah Wood and Sean Astin coming to Minnesota, which is a big deal, and I actually got to meet them and take a photo op, which you can see behind me in my background. This year we had Michael Rooker and Sean Gunn from Guardians, and I actually got to meet and talk to Sean Gunn a little bit, even though I was incredibly nervous. And one of the things that I noticed about this year's Comic-Con compared to some of the previous ones was the fact that Twin Cities Con was a little bit larger. I know that Twin Cities Con had a little bit more booths compared to MinnesotaCon. MinnesotaCon was a little bit smaller in scale, which is kind of nice for me, but just because of the fact that I could move around a little bit more with my dad, and my dad was the one that took me to the last one. It's kind of fun experiencing it with him, just because of the fact that I've seen so many of these movie franchises with him and got to experience so much of this stuff with him as a whole. And so that's where I kind of debuted Owen Grady, which I kind of wore to my photo opportunity with both Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, which is pretty cool. I wore the G-Shock wristwatch that you see me wearing right now, which is the GD100B. Now, I'll probably end up doing a review for that on this channel if I ever get around to doing so, but I kind of wore the full garb. I got the Henley shirt going on and then the jeans and stuff like that. I didn't bring the Owen Grady vest, which I probably should have done that time, just because of the fact that I didn't want to lug that thing around. I didn't want to have to go back to the car, even though we kind of did that multiple times. So that was kind of an experience I learned. One of the things that I really did learn around the first time I went to Twin Cities Con was the fact that the overhead lights are really hot. If you're not wearing jackets, sometimes it can be a little bit cool in that room. And in MinnesotaCon, it was no exception. They had the air conditioning blasting there, so it was a little bit cooler than what I was expecting. So I probably could have gotten away with wearing my Indiana Jones stuff, which I contemplated going as Indiana Jones, but I actually just went as my screen accurate Nathan Drake stuff from Uncharted, which was pretty cool just because of the fact that I could actually wear that stuff out for once at a cosplay convention, walk around and kind of show you the lengths that I go to in terms of screen accuracy when it comes to cosplay. And as you guys know, when it comes to cosplay, I take my stuff relatively seriously. I don't cheapen it. I'm going to go all out if I can. I'm going to buy the screen accurate stuff used in the films if I can, and that's one of the cool things about it. And so I got to talk with Sean Gunn this time a little bit longer than I probably did with Elijah Wood and Sean Astin. This time I actually went up to the booth and everything. I got him to sign my standard Blu-ray copy of Guardians, which is pretty cool. I basically told him that I had a YouTube channel. I basically talk about movies and video games, which I have a passion for on here, and I will be going back to doing the movie and video game stuff in the near future. But I also told him that I was a screenwriter, and he actually gave me some pretty good and helpful tips when discussing things such as screenwriting, which I basically told him I had issues with having multiple different ideas. I get to about page 60 and then kind of go to a new screenplay that I was working on. He basically said that you kind of have to kill that critic, because I am really critical of my work. I don't think people understand that I want my stuff to be good, and I don't want my stuff to seem kind of amateurish, even though I don't claim to be anywhere close to near being that of the pros that are out there. But he's just basically like, you kind of have to kill that critic inside of you. You have to keep working on it, because there's nothing worse than not having a screenplay finished. And that's kind of the advice that I've gotten from other screenwriters as well, especially people that I've talked to that are within the industry itself. They're kind of like, you kind of have to just keep working at it and finish the screenplays, even if you want to go on to another screenplay itself, because it's easy to get to up to page 60, but completing the other 60 pages is what's a little bit difficult for other people. And a normal screenplay, like I said before, is like 120 pages, and once you get it there, then you're pretty much done. So it's kind of cool meeting him, discussing what I do in terms of my YouTube stuff, and telling him that I have a YouTube channel where I talk about movies and video games and cosplay. He was a really cool guy. He was kind of nice and everything, and I was super nervous. I don't get starstruck in terms of celebrities, but with Sean Gunn, for some reason, it was a little bit different, just because of the fact that I respect his work as I do with Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, who I've met in the past. And I had a fun time. I really did like spending a little bit more time with my dad, kind of going around the different booths and stuff. I didn't expect to actually pick up any comic books, just because I don't really buy comic books that much now, but I did come back with a Spider-Man haul, which I posted pictures of. I also got a piece of artwork for Guardians, which I need to hang up on my wall at some point from a random booth, and then I have to get my MinnesotaCon picture with Sean Gunn hung up there on my wall next to my Sean Astin Elijah Wood one, which I really do like going to these cons. I hope this is not the last time that I eventually go to a con and experience getting to meet these people that I've grown up loving ever since I was a kid in the 90s, and kind of getting invested in the film and TV world and stuff like that, because, you know, going to these cons is a really eye-opening experience because these people are just basically people, and that's basically how I treat celebrities whenever I meet them. I don't really hound them for autographs and basically doing signings. It's pretty cool to have even a few minutes to kind of discuss with Sean Gunn basically what I do. I was supposed to meet Michael Rooker there as well, but he was a no-show both on Friday and Saturday. We went up to some person that was working there, and she basically explained to us that, you know, sometimes that kind of happens where they just don't show up and they're not really beholden to kind of go into these cons. They might say that they will be there, but I had tickets to meet both Sean Gunn and Michael Rooker, and for some reason Michael Rooker didn't show up. But it was pretty cool nonetheless to get to meet Sean Gunn, just because I've watched a bunch of his filmography in the past, and it was kind of cool to get to talk to him even a little bit about filmmaking and film. That was a really cool experience. I had a lot of fun there, got a couple of drinks, got a couple of pictures taken, and not only the Jurassic Park from the replica that they made from the movie, but also got to take my picture of a replica Back to the Future vehicle, which I may or may not, you know, include some pictures of that insert this video. I also found Dominic Toretto's car from Fast and the Furious, which I posted on Twitter and tagged both Jason Momoa and Vin Diesel in, which I thought was pretty funny. I said I found Dom's car in the film. So yeah, no, that was basically my experience from the past 2 comic conventions that I've been to here in Minnesota. I definitely do plan on going to other ones such as San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con in the near future. Maybe I'll do a follow-up review or a video similar to what I'm doing here on this channel right now in the not so distant future. But those are my thoughts and opinions of Twin Cities Con and MinnesotaCon. Definitely plan on going to more comic conventions in the near future, especially if there's people there that I kind of want to meet and chat up and get some autographs, because that was a really fun experience, and kind of just meeting random people there at the cons itself is always pretty cool. So those are my overall thoughts and opinions over MinnesotaCon. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you kind of like these new style commentary videos that I'm basically doing on this channel? Do you guys like going to comic conventions? What's the last comic book convention that you guys have gone to? Are you guys planning on going to any in the near future? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.